Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey. So this is the beginning of day 2 for us in Kansas City. Day 2 started off with something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. Rebecca and her son Trevor had done it years before, and I had not, and that was to go to the Negro League Museum. Growing up as a kid, being a massive baseball fan, my friends and I, we knew about the Negro Leagues. We knew about a lot of the players at that time. I'd collected baseball cards of several of the players, including Satchel Paige. I have a 53 Satchel Paige baseball card in my collection. Anyway, we wanted to go there, and the main thing I wanted to see was the room with the 9 players.
Yeah,
and the umpire.
It's fantastic.
And the hitter.
It's a field.
It's a field, and it's fantastic. And Rebecca took some pictures. Well, as we left, I walked into the gift shop, and I really wanted to buy something to support it, because I wanted to support the place, other than the $10 that we a piece that we spent.
Which is a bargain.
Which is a bargain for a museum, I'll tell you right now. As we walked out and we looked through the gift shop, I didn't want to get a jersey. I've got enough of them, and I just didn't feel like getting anything they had. So as we walked out, there was this big chair, and Rebecca's like, why don't you go take a picture over in that chair? So as I walk over to the chair, here are these 2 large glass cases with baseballs with several players that I remember. And I couldn't walk out without supporting the museum without getting this ball, which I'll put in the front. Rebecca, I think we'll take maybe a better picture later. It's an autographed ball of Willie Mays. And Willie Mays was one of the players I read about a lot as a kid, and it was the choice I decided to make as my donation to the museum and as a forever memory for myself. All right, so we get in the car after the Negro League Museum. We drive to this other part of town, and I will let Rebecca take it from this point.
Yeah, so I'm going to show some pictures of, I hope you enjoyed the ones from the Negro League Museum that I put in there just to tease you in case you haven't been yet. But I'm going to show a few pictures of the distillery. We didn't take a ton, but I want to share a little bit of their history because everything just seems to be so historic in Kansas City, and I'm pretty excited about that. So again, this was July 25th of 2025. It was our 68th distillery and our second in Missouri. West Bottoms Distillery was founded in 2016 by Alex Lindsey with the idea of creating a whiskey that reflects the history and innovation spirit of West Bottoms District. Yeah, it's a whole district. Mm-hmm. So the fact that it's in the West Bottoms is no coincidence. The area was bustling railroad hub and agricultural center in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries. It was a thriving saloon culture as well. Prohibition naturally brought an end to many of these businesses, including distilleries like the original J. Rieger and Company. After a decade of home distilling and refining his craft, Alex Lindsey opened West Bottoms Distillery in what was once a train tunnel pass-through in a historic 1893 building. And to be honest, that was the reason that we went, because I was fascinated by the history of the building. It's really pretty exciting to think about what all went on in that building. And we had this fantastic guide for the day that his name was Jose. Yes. And we weren't able to get a tour because we just kind of went in there to see. Again, it wasn't on our agenda first thing, so we didn't make a tour. We weren't sure what time we could arrive. But he ended up pouring well for us, and we did a couple different tasting rounds and ended up buying one of everything. So he ended up giving us some history. He goes, well, normally it's on the tour, but since you're pretty much buying everything and sitting here for a while, and we could see, I mean, that was just fascinating, whether you could see where the train came in, it still had the bumper area there, and how it did, sometimes trains, it's very narrow. Sometimes trains coming through hit things. They're not always perfect. It might be a little bit wider, and there were like chunks missing from the brick. Wasn't that crazy?
I will say this, it is one of the coolest buildings as far as distilleries go that I've been in.
Yeah.
I walked in, I'm kind of looking around, it's like, okay, this is fine. And then Jose started talking about the history. And I'm like, okay, this is really awesome. The roof was designed in metal in such a way that basically if sparks flew up, it wouldn't catch on fire. It just was cool. It had a great vibe. So we decided to do a flight. And you're kind of looking at I think you're looking at the flight.
This was the original flight, yeah.
And kudos to West Bottoms, because it is one of the few places that we've been that we basically could not eliminate a purchase.
Yeah.
You know, we've early on, when, if you've seen a lot of our videos, we bought a lot of things and then we kind of tapered down. This one here, we couldn't eliminate anything.
Nope.
And we talked about it, and we just kept getting stunned with each tasting. And so we are doing this whole flight today to go over each of these bottles that we really recommend. If you're in Kansas City, you go to West Bottoms. I almost feel sycophantic about the place. I loved it. I just loved it.
Well, I'm just going to give you, we're not going to do a detailed tasting because we have 4 things here. We don't want to keep you here all night or give you too much information about each one. But I do want to show you a close-up picture of each bottle as we taste it and tell you a little bit of what it is, because I was a bit fascinated by what these things are. And they're kind of built off the idea of, being rectifiers. And that's what they're really proud of. Although they're distilling their own stuff as well. Rectifiers did not do that. But their whole premise is Kansas City was a huge rectifying industry. So let's talk a little bit about the first one here, which is the Kansas City Whiskey, and I'll show you a close-up picture of the bottle. So Kansas City Whiskey is a pre-Prohibition style of blended American whiskey based on the process of rectification. So their Kansas City Whiskey blends rye whiskey, bourbon whiskey, and 2% Oloroso sherry from Spain. Yes, it is 2% sherry. It is not finished in sherry barrels. It is 2% sherry in there. The result is a beautiful sipping whiskey with a warm, spicy front and a smooth, earthy, and fruity finish. It's fascinating. I mean, as soon as I started looking up stuff after we'd been to Holiday the night before, in the morning I'm up early on my phone and trying to figure out are there more distilleries? What do we need to go see around here? And when I saw that this thing called Kansas City Whiskey, my head about blew up, right? I was like, wait a minute, they have something called Kansas City Whiskey here. What the heck is that? And now we know it's a blend of bourbon, rye, and Oloroso sherry, which is just crazy. Bourbon ryes are pretty popular today, but the sherry piece makes it very different.
Well,
let's check her out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
It's a light color.
Yeah, because they're all kind of a light color because they're all pretty young, but it initially you think it's going to smell like a burr rye, and a lot of you have had a burr rye. Knob Creek puts one out. Several different distillers put them out now, but the sherry comes through.
Yes. For me, it's initially sherry, and
it pops your nose really fast.
And even though there's only like 2% in there, the sherry really pops out. It's a really good nose. It's a fun nose.
I want everybody to taste some Kansas City Whiskey again. Cheers.
Cheers. That's as pleasant as I remember it.
It is a sipping whiskey. That's a great definition of it, because the rye is not overwhelming you, neither is the bourbon. It's a perfect blend, honestly. And that 2% sherry, I mean, we've got a lot of bourbons that are finished in an Oloroso cask, which is good, but something about this is just a different level.
The proof on this, I know all these, I believe, are under 100, if I remember correctly. I don't think any of them are above 100. The thing that I noticed when I put my glass down after the taste is I have a lot of legs, and that's for a 94 proof to have that many legs and this much flavor is really simple.
Yeah, I was gonna say this much flavor, because we're the high proof drinkers a lot of the time. This has so much flavor for a 94 proof.
This
and viscosity. I mean, it's everything.
I mean, this is, and we don't have much of it. This would almost constitute a daily drinker. I think this would be really easy to sit down with and have every day.
Yeah, we showed restraint because it was our second distillery and we knew we were going to go to at least 2 more. So we didn't buy backups of anything, but that just means we have to go back to Kansas City, I guess. But yeah, we didn't buy any backups. We did buy pretty much one of everything. So there you go.
So let's get some water and let's go to bottle number 2.
Yeah, bottle number 2 is called Convergence. Now, Convergence Whiskey embodies this rich history as well by combining rye whiskey with single malt whiskey into a very distinctive blend, which then is finished in a Malbec wine cask. So unlike the first one that was bourbon, rye, and Oloroso sherry in it, this is rye, single malt, and finished in a Malbec wine cask. And I believe this one is 95 proof. So, and again, it's really taking, rectifying. Back then it was called that. Today it would be called being a master blender, I would say. And really figuring out how to blend just the right amount of rye and single malt. I don't think I've ever had a rye and single malt blend before.
No. You can imagine, walking in a place you didn't know about 48 hours before. Mm-hmm. And you walk in, you see this cool old building, you sit down, and all of a sudden you're being given pours of things that you have not had any version of. Mm-mm. That's mind-blowing.
It's exciting. Because we drink a lot of whiskey, and to have the opportunity to taste something we've never tried, not just the brand, but that mix before, is very exciting, I think.
And the cool thing about it is that the guy that was kind of leading our quasi, if you want to call it, tour/tasting, as well as the owner/master distiller, they were really thrilled with the fact that we were people that knew about Kentucky whiskey. And, so it was neat for them, and they enjoyed the fact that we were enjoying their whiskey.
Well, let's get the nose on this puppy. So okay. You can tell, this is so interesting with the rye and the single malt. Because you're really, I know you must really like this one because it got the barley notes.
He
loves barley.
Well, it's funny. I wasn't thinking barley. I immediately pick up, and I should have thought of barley, but you pick up the rye, and I'm not a big rye guy. I don't mind it though. You pick up the rye, and all of a sudden, you have barley.
Yeah, for me, the single malt hit me before that.
I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, I'm mostly getting the single malt on the nose for me.
And it's just...
we're ready. So, cheers to Convergence Whiskey. Let's see what you're all about once again.
Convergence.
I would just say this. Unbeknownst to me, rye and single malt play very well together.
I can get a little bit, and I have not had this flavor before. I am getting a little bit of the minty rye immediately hitting a wall with barley. It is crazy.
Are you getting any of the Malbec finish? I'm not feeling like I'm getting specifically any wine notes, but there is a sweetness there. I have to assume is the Malbec.
It's probably because my palate is very selfishly enjoying two things right now.
Now on that second taste, and kind of, I'm going to say I was doing the Missouri chew on that one, just to try to get it into my palate a little bit deeper. I am getting some of the hints of the Malbec now. But it's very much a secondary back row player. It's just there, I think, to bring the two divergent whiskeys together. Mm-hmm. You're bringing a rye and an American single malt together, and it's kind of making them play well.
I am not getting it, and I don't know it's because I'm not looking for it, but I will just say this. I know it's there, but it is definitely not deterring from the rye and the single malt. Mm-hmm. It's playing well. It's playing well enough to not dominate and let them, in my palate, to let them just go at it. Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Really good. So that's super different. And Kansas City whiskey was new, fresh, and it's Convergence whiskey. And of course, that's what they called it. But a fascinating thing. Now, we did taste Kansas City whiskey at other places as well. So it is definitely a thing in Kansas City. They're not the only people doing it. And no one was able to take credit for who invented it. I didn't read that anymore. Maybe I'll do a little more research on that. But okay, so the third one is an American single malt. So let's talk a little bit about that while you look at the picture of the bottle. It is an American blended malt whiskey. It's a combination of their peated distiller's cut, which we will have last, and a 4-year-old selected single malt whiskey, which means they distilled the distiller's cut, but they did not distill this other single malt. It's a complex whiskey that can surprise you on each sip. This blended malt whiskey is the perfect intro for those wanting to explore Scotch with a light smoke, because again, it's with their distiller's cut, and it is 90 proof. So it's got legs just sitting there on the glass for 90 proof. That's kind of crazy. I'm going to warm it up just a bit. And we've gotten into single malts, American single malts specifically in probably the last year.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the first year on our bourbon journey. We might actually enjoy single malts more than we do ryes, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah, most definitely.
We haven't dipped our toe much into the Scotch realm, although we've had some Scotches that we enjoy. But so this one's kind of interesting because it is blended with this one and another. It sounds like a sourced single malt. So great legs on this, again, for 90 proof. Yeah, I'm getting a very light hint of smoke from the distiller's cut, probably.
I'm getting the smokiness and a little bit of the peatiness.
Yeah, very, very light hint of it. It's not overwhelming in any way. So if you're not someone that likes the smokiness, this might work for you because it's not going to like hit you in the face because it is a blend.
There's a little bit of a sweetness in the back too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what, but it's...
Barley can be sweet. It can go a couple different directions. Barley can be savory, like almost oatmeal-like sometimes, and sometimes it's very sweet. So
okay.
let's I want to taste this puppy. Cheers to their American whiskey single malt.
Cheers. Well,
very light hint of smoke.
Light hint of smoke, light peatiness. There is, I can now get the barley on the taste where I didn't get it on the nose. I'm going back to now what, just days ago, over a week ago or so, of being in that room and sitting there looking at you and like, we
what are we tasting? Where are we?
What are we tasting? And we were really blown away. And I know I said that, but wow, this is very good.
It's very good. It's got these lovely notes of, anything you love in a single malt. And it is this nice, because the next one I'm going to do is much more smoky. I do recall that from our tasting there. But this, because it has a blend of that, it's kind of letting you dip your toe into smokiness to see if you might like it, to see without overwhelming you with it, what you might think. I do like the nose on this. I feel it's almost like campfire-ish. Of course, something else we did a lot of in Kansas City was eat barbecue, Kansas City barbecue. So you'd walk into those smokehouses, so to speak, and you'd kind of smell this a little bit.
What was it, like Hangar 29?
Which is where we had breakfast that morning before we did this. I mean, we had brisket bowls for breakfast. And this, when you walk in there, just smells amazing. So this is it's bringing back some really fantastic memories of Kansas City just from smelling this. I don't even have to drink it, And I love smoking meat myself. My smoker's on the blitz right now, so I've not done any meat smoking this year. So going to Kansas City made me kind of yearn for that a little bit. And this is just, wow. That is very luscious. That's a good word for it, luscious, right?
Yeah. This is way up. As far as single malts that we have purchased and that we have on our shelves behind us, this is way up on the list.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm not going to try to compare it. There are a couple that we really like that are in a different lane.
Yeah, they're different lanes. There's so many lanes on single malts, and this one...
it's really good.
They could almost call this a Kansas City single malt because it feels like Kansas City to me, So anyway, let's get the scoop. I'll show the picture of the bottle, and we'll get the scoop on this West Bottoms Distiller's Cut. See what that's all about. So the Distiller's Cut American Single Malt Whiskey is what they consider their premium offering. It is 100% distilled and aged by West Bottoms Whiskey. So this is not something that they are, quote, rectifying. It is made in their 211-gallon copper pot still. It is the first peated whiskey in Kansas City. So that has a good distinction. It is 50% malted barley and 50% peated malt. And they did get the peated malt from Scotland. So they did acquire the peated malt before they distilled it. It was aged 1 year in 5-gallon barrels, which explains why it got some age on it. And limited runs are being released. It's only available in their parlor, and they did hand dip each one of these. And I think that's why this particular offering is only provided in a 375 milliliter bottle, because they just don't have that much of it. And it is 100 proof. And we were talking about the bottle has a lot of sediment in it. So you can just tell that. I think it's probably that smoky peat that's just floating around in there.
And
it's pretty amazing.
And this was also the most expensive, if I remember
correctly.
correctly.
per milliliter probably. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, let's check her out and get it warmed up a little bit. It has got a lot, really not a lot more smokiness on the nose. It's you know me after this.
I think it has a smoother smell. It has a totally different smell than this.
But I don't think it's
similar.
not smokier than the other one on the nose.
Right.
So if you're someone that's kind of averse to smokiness and that kind of peatiness thing, it is not on your nose going to turn you off, because it's not heavy, like poof, going up your nose. Like if you're like me at all, if I get a fragrance on a whiskey that I don't like, I can't even drink it. I try, but it's just, I feel like I'm gagging. So this is really interesting that it's not more smoky than this one on the nose.
Yes, and that's sort of surprising.
I mean, you get it for sure, but it's not greatly different from that one.
If you're not into peatiness, you're not going to like it.
Yeah, I would say this one's probably your better bet to dip your toe in that lane.
You know, my guess is this is probably closer to a true Scotch.
So I'm ready to taste this. So cheers to
gosh.
Alex Lindsey and West Bottom and your Distiller's Cut, all distilled at your place. Cheers.
Cheers.
It is rich.
Oh gosh, that's good.
I think that 50-50 blend is really helping to not have the smoke overtake you. It is nice.
I'm glad these two are different.
Yeah.
But I'm glad at the same time that the smokiness of this one does not really appear in that. This is really good. This is really, really good.
Alex, that was great. We got a chance to meet Alex. We kept asking Jose, can you bring the distiller down? And he's like, well, he's on a call. And, you know, I'm like, wow, we really want to meet him, maybe sign a couple bottles, which he did. Eventually he did. He was like, I got to come down because he kept bugging me and I got to see who you guys are.
Yeah.
He was really sweet. Yeah.
He came down, he signed, I think he signed most of the bottles we bought.
Yeah.
We sat there and chatted with him. We gave him a card of what we do.
Yeah.
My wife put together a story because we had talked about it, this place afterward, and they immediately reposted our story.
Yeah.
And thanked us for the visit. And
we just can't recommend them enough to stop in there. Plus, it's such a great little area. We didn't have time to explore all of West Bottoms, but the area is just, I would use the term gitchy, right? Because
Yeah.
it's very historical and it's got all these, the whole area goes back into this history in the 1800s. And all the vendors there, all the merchants, everything, they're really trying to keep everything like it was, but with an updated need that people have. I would have loved to have tried one of their cocktails, but we did not have the opportunity because we did a flight instead.
And I will say this, that we will eventually go back out to Kansas City.
Oh, absolutely.
We ended up going to see America. We love the venue they were playing at. We may have
Midland
to see,
Theater, it's gorgeous.
We may have to see who is playing there in the future, somebody that we really like, and if it's a weekend thing, maybe try to replicate this and do it again, because one, I would go back out. I would go to this place.
Yeah.
It was that.
And there's
good.
other places we didn't get it. We're still going to review 2 more places over the next couple of weeks. We didn't get a chance to go to everywhere.
Yes, there's a few others out there, but I would like this one here. I would like to return to, because
Absolutely.
I would like to do a tour, and I would also like to try one of their old fashions and do that, and because it was outstanding.
Let's go back to this and see what else we think about it.
I'm just digging the nose.
I mean, I'm just thinking that if you are a Scotch drinker, I'm hoping you would really enjoy this for an American made that really has a lot of Scotch notes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a Scotch drinker, but you're willing to kind of dip into it a little bit, which is us, we're not that, right? But we've had a few here and there. Friends have introduced us to some that we're willing to try. But this one, It makes, if it weren't for a space allocation, we might be doing more Scotch. I'm just saying, we just don't have room for it. And our channel's called Your Bourbon Journey. So
and that's what it really gets down to. This puppy, this guy here,
we couldn't pass it up. We didn't want to but we can put it on. We're gonna try to make a Kansas City shelf. So I have to do some rearranging here pretty soon when I get a moment, when we're not traveling so much. But I really want to have a Kansas City shelf now because we have enough. We have a couple shelves. We have 3 shelves for Indiana. And now we're going to need to have a Kansas City shelf because we went to 4 distilleries.
Yes, it was a fantastic trip. I look forward to going to Kansas City again, going back and visiting them, as well as going to the other distilleries that we can that are in the area.
I mean, Kansas City is just so rich with history. They had a massive railway system. The next day, we'll talk about it next week, but we went to Union Station too. Oh. And Union Station had some great things, and they still have an Amtrak that's live. People are getting on and off the train there, just saying. So, if you have transportation like trains and the Missouri River, you obviously had bourbon back in the day. That's why they were such a hub for these things, and perhaps a little bit of as you would say, some underground movement too. Let's say that involves some players in the not so official industry, but Kansas City has so much else. I mean, they've got tons of museums. We talked about the Negro League Museum, but there's also like the World War I Museum. Truman is from Kansas City, so his presidential library is not too far outside. We didn't go there yet. That's another reason we have to go back to visit his library in Independence, Missouri.
That was actually one thing we'd planned to do, but the distilleries eliminated it. I've gone to several presidential libraries, and I enjoy it.
There's just a lot and we only went to a couple barbecue restaurants, and we had planned it, but because sometimes it was predicated on what we were doing and where we were and what our time frame was, and we had to be at the concert or we had to be somewhere else, so we didn't go to as many barbecue places as we planned. So there's a lot of reason for us to go back to Kansas City, and we will be doing that.
So I'm going to finish with what we finished with. It's my glass. So cheers to you, West Bottoms. We really did enjoy the visit. And
Alex and Jose, cheers to you especially.
Yes, thank you for the hospitality you showed us. You have a fantastic place that you are proud of, and you definitely deserve to be proud of it. Have a great day. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button. Always remember to drink responsibly. And for today, remember to drink Kansas City whiskey. Cheers.
Cheers.